the absolute ecological devastation that we find ourselves in, and the machinations of the machines of injustice that promote things like voting rights suppression, and whenever we see people's rights being trampled upon, their lives being denied, that these are all interrelated and interwoven, and that in this machine of injustice, a machine that is largely fueled through white supremacy, you cannot tie one injustice away from another. And so to be in right relationship calls us to certain practices. It calls us to a practice of humility and of putting ourselves back in a rightful place in that, than putting humans at the center of existence and creation. Fasting is an ancient practice of developing that recentering of human existence. Humans across cultures and across generations have fasted as a way to be back in right relationship, as a way to center themselves spiritually and to remember what is most important.
A Ramapo Lenape man who goes by the name of Owl, who was one of the 2 people who fasted the full 14 days on water only, concluded the ceremony.
In a certain level that we all are fossil fuel addicts, that we all have an addiction we have to deal with. And the people here today and many others throughout the land, we are taking that first step, they say, in the recovery process is to recognize we have an addiction. That's why we are calling on Governor Murphy to stop any new fossil fuel production and extraction.
That was a Ramapo Lenape man named Owl. Reverend Robin Tanner of the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of the Beacon Summit Church, Chief Dwayne Perry of the Ramapo Lenape Nation, and Matt Smith of Food and Water Watch, New Jersey. Learn more about the demands made by the New Jersey Climate Fast by visiting our Between the Lines website at btlonline.org. You've been listening to Between the Lines, a weekly program presenting news and analysis of critical issues affecting our region, the nation, and the world. Between the Lines is produced and distributed by Squeaky Wheel Productions. If you have suggestions for topics and guests, please contact Between the Lines through our newly designed and mobile-friendly website at btlonline.org, where you can hear our current and archive programs in MP3 and streaming audio and support our show. There you can also subscribe to free weekly podcasts, program summaries, and interview transcripts. Follow us on Facebook at Between the Lines Radio News Magazine and on Twitter at BTL Radio News. Thanks for listening on Global Community Radio in Geneva, New York, KHOI in Ames, Iowa, KYAQ in Oregon, and dozens of other community stations across the U.S. and abroad. Our theme music was written by Richard Hill and performed by Mikata. This week's program was produced by Susan Bramhall, Mary Hunt, Anna Manzo, Bob Nixon, Elaine Osowski, Melinda Tuhus, and Jeff Yates. For Between the Lines, I'm Scott Harris.
Hey, what's up? Thinking about you. XOXOXO. Want to snuggle. ... JK. Hit me back. You getting these texts? ? We should hang later. I miss you. Holla at ya, boy. Holla back. Holla back. Holla back. Are you at home? Where are you? What are you doing? OMG. You are making me mad. Are you with your ex? You better text me back. I'm waiting outside your house.
Relentless, aggressive texting is like sending an angry robot to deliver your message. When does the robot become dangerous? Let us know at that'snotcool.com.
That'snotcool.com.
Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Global Community Radio, Channel 1, KAKU-LP Kahilui, KBOG-LP Bandon, KFZR-LP Fraser Park, KIEZ-LP Monroe, KLQS-LP Agua Dulce, KPDO Pescadero, Sunflower State Radio Extra Marysville, WLRI-LP Gap, MUU-LP Madison, WRAQ-LP Angelica, WXDR-LP New Orleans, WXIR-LP Rochester.
Production and distribution of City Club forums on IdeaStream are made possible by the generous support of PNC and the Raskin Family Fund, with additional funding from Robert Conrad, Cleveland State University, the Chautauqua Institution, the Cleveland Clinic, and the United Black Fund of Greater Cleveland, Incorporated.
Good afternoon and welcome to the City Club of Cleveland. I'm Robin Minter-Smyers, a partner at Thompson Hine and president of the City Club's board of directors. Over 50 million people worldwide are affected by dementia. Perhaps you, like me, are caring for or have lost a loved one affected by dementia. Or you've been diagnosed and are currently living with dementia. Despite its pervasiveness, dementia is stigmatized and too rarely discussed. This is why it gives me so much pleasure to introduce today's speaker, the former Dean of Trinity Episcopal Cathedral in Cleveland, the Very Reverend Tracy Lind, who will be speaking on dementia from the inside out. This is the second time in recent years that we're welcoming the Very Reverend Tracy Lind to the City Club stage. The first time, in October of 2016, she participated in a panel discussion on the journey of caring for those battling different forms of dementia. She openly and honestly shared her personal story in caring for her mother. A few weeks later, on November 8th, 2016, Reverend Lind was diagnosed with the early stages of frontotemporal degeneration. She's here today to share her journey with dementia as a self-described torchbearer who curses the darkness of dementia and lights the path of grace-filled living with this disease. By way of brief background, Reverend Lind is the former dean of Trinity Episcopal Cathedral and a city planner whose ministry has included work for social and environmental justice, interfaith relations, sustainable urban development, arts and culture, and progressive theology. Most recently, Reverend Lind's ministry has extended to include the spiritual insights and lessons she has gained from a life complicated by dementia. This diagnosis hasn't stopped her from fully appreciating what life has to offer and what she has to give. In 2017, she shared her story on a tour of churches throughout Europe. She also is part of the think tank for the Association for Frontotemporal Degeneration. A native of Columbus, Ohio, Reverend Lind is an alumna of the Columbus School for Girls, and she holds a bachelor's degree in urban studies from the Honors College at the University of a Master's of Community Planning from the University of Cincinnati, and a Master's of Divinity from Union Theological Seminary in New York. Ladies and gentlemen, members and friends of the City Club of Cleveland, please join me in welcoming to the stage the Very Reverend Tracy Lind.
Good afternoon. It's really wonderful to be here today. It's a bit overwhelming to see so many dear friends and colleagues, and it is truly an honor to speak at a City Club Friday Forum. It's been 2 years since I was diagnosed with early stage dementia. I had tried to ignore the increasingly obvious signs and symptoms, thinking that it was stress or normal aging, or that I was one of the worried well. But one day in the spring of 2016, shortly before my 62nd birthday, I looked in a mirror and I did not recognize my own face. I wondered, who is that good-looking woman